They overcame great difficulties and successfully planted more than 1 billion trees in the desert, turning 800 million mu of desert land into an oasis. Of course, taking advantage of the desert, they also established more than 120 desert photovoltaic bases in various deserts, further improving the overall layout of renewable energy. Now, Chinese geologists have discovered a remarkable treasure underground in the desert, a large oil field with a reserve of up to 1 billion tons, valued at more than $100 billion. According to the current mining plan, the development of this desert oil field is expected to completely reshape China's energy structure. So, why is there such a huge oil field underground in the desert? Can China successfully mine it? If you find today's video interesting, be sure to subscribe to the Insider Truth channel so you won't miss any exciting videos. Now let's get into today's topic. China, the country with the largest population and huge economy in the world, has been facing severe energy challenges. Especially in the field of oil, most of the oil needs to be imported from other countries. According to data from 2023, China's oil imports reached 560 million tons, and imported oil accounted for 73% of its total consumption. This dependent situation has made China's energy security an unstable factor in development. In order to alleviate this energy pressure, China has been actively looking for new ways to supply energy and strive to explore domestic oil resources. In this process, the Yungar Basin in Xinjiang became one of the key areas of their exploration. Located in the northern part of Xinjiang, China, the Yungar Basin covers a total area of 330,000 square kilometers. It is a vast inland basin belonging to the fold geological system. In the long river of geological changes, this basin has gone through two extremely critical development stages: basement formation and plate tectonic activity during the late Carboniferous, and the continuous formation and development of basin cover sediments since the late Carboniferous. Despite the extremely dry climate, scarce precipitation and sparse vegetation coverage, the Yungar Basin is a treasure land rich in oil and gas resources and has become one of China's important oil and gas production areas. According to the latest statistics, as of 2022, 32 oil and gas fields have been successfully explored in the Yungar Basin, including 27 oil fields. The oil reserves of these oil fields are estimated to be as high as 8.6 billion tons, and the proven reserves of natural gas have reached 2.5 trillion cubic meters. So why are there so many oil resources in the Yungar Basin? As for why there is so much oil in the Yungar Basin, the reason is actually very simple. Let's first understand the process of oil production, so that we can understand this phenomenon more clearly. Oil is actually ground subsidence caused by ancient crustal activity. This process brought the remains of plants and animals on the surface underground, and then these biological remains were buried in thick sedimentary rock layers. After tens of millions of years, these biological materials gradually turned into oil under high pressure and high temperature. In this process, the subsidence of the crust gradually raised the surrounding terrain and formed a sedimentary basin. The plateaus and mountains around the Yungar Basin formed a natural barrier, blocking rain and water vapor, making the climate inside the basin dry. After a long period of evolution, the Yungar Basin eventually became desertified and formed a lifeless desert. In other words, before becoming a desert, the Yungar Basin was originally extremely fertile land with rich vegetation and animal resources. It was only because of climate change and crustal movement that caused huge changes here. During this series of changes, the Yungar Basin also coincidentally gave birth to a super treasure that can change China's energy structure. As early as 6 years ago, Chinese geologists accidentally discovered an oil reservoir called Mahu oil field during their exploration of the Yungar Basin in Xinjiang. It is currently one of the largest tight conglomerate oil reservoirs in the world. So far, the third-level geological reserves of petroleum in the oil field have reached an astonishing 1.24 billion tons, of which the proven reserves are as high as 520 million tons. This figure exceeds the total proven reserves of the world's second-largest Hemlock oil field in the United States and the world's third-largest Camapolos oil field in Brazil. More importantly, the cycloalkane crude oil produced by the Mahu oil field is a scarce strategic resource at the national level. This crude oil is a key raw material for synthesizing high-power aviation kerosene and high-quality lubricants. The high-density aviation kerosene and ultra-low-temperature lubricants refined from this crude oil can be used in the aviation industry, and can also be widely used in aerospace and other high-tech fields. Globally, naphthenic crude oil is one of the rarest energy sources, and its reserves account for only 2.2% of the world's proven oil reserves, so it is known as the rare earth in the oil industry. But for China, how to successfully develop this super treasure hidden underground has become a huge problem. Why is this? Compared with conventional oil fields, the exploitation of Mahu oil field is also extremely difficult. The oil reservoirs here are mainly dense conglomerates with extremely low porosity, and crude oil is stored in tiny rock pores that are almost invisible to the naked eye. The unique sedimentary characteristics, reservoir structure, and accumulation process make it almost impossible to directly learn from the development experience in the world. In the early development practice of China, it was found that due to the high formation pressure coefficient and the extensive development of fault bodies, the drilling process often encountered complex downhole situations such as stuck drill and well leakage, which made the general production model difficult to apply to Mahu oil field. In addition, since the sediments of Mahu oil field are mainly coarse-grained conglomerates, which are fundamentally different from the fine-grained sedimentary shales in other regions, it means that the tight oil development theories of other countries cannot be fully applied, and China can only explore solutions on its own. More importantly, the natural environment in the Yungar Basin is extremely harsh and the climatic conditions are extreme. The winter is bitterly cold, while the summer is scorching hot, and the area experiences strong winds of more than level 8 for dozens of days every year. The location of Mahu oil field also faces multiple challenges such as severe desertification, scarce water resources, and difficulties in replenishment. For various reasons, it is undoubtedly a huge challenge for China to successfully exploit this super treasure. However, some countries envy China for having such a super treasure oil field, and even propose that if China's oil development technology encounters difficulties, they are willing to assist in exploitation. But China still did not choose to hand over the mining rights to foreign companies. In order to successfully develop this treasure hidden under the desert, the Chinese technical team spent 3 years to successfully develop an efficient development engineering technology system for the Mahu conglomerate oil reservoir. The exploration team adopted the integrated technology of geology and engineering, and cooperated with the management agency to achieve refined management. This management method has increased the mechanical drilling speed of the target layer of the first high-angle well in the test area by more than 80%, and shortened the completion cycle to 96 days when the horizontal section length increased by 183 meters. Compared with the previous exploration well speed, this technology has increased efficiency by 40%. In addition, the Chinese technical team has further improved the operating efficiency and production effect by adopting the measures of factory-based large well clusters and three-dimensional staggered wells. During the oilfield exploitation process, China's technical team also developed a triaxial hydraulic fracturing simulation system that can detect and analyze the opening and fracturing rules of multiple fractures with small spacing under different gravel characteristics and fracturing fluid. This system allows people to more intuitively understand the main control factors of fracture expansion in gravel environments, such as the situation of stopping fractures around gravel, through gravel, and encountering gravel. At the same time, the technology is also equipped with an effective fracture support pumping process, which greatly improves the complexity and coverage of the fracturing network. Compared with traditional mining methods, this innovative technology greatly reduces the comprehensive cost of fracturing and promotes desert oilfield mining technology. Supported by these advanced technologies, the Mahu Area Gravel-Tight Oil Reservoir in Xinjiang oilfield has become an extremely important oil-producing area. On March 12 this year, China's exploration team ushered in another major breakthrough. They successfully drilled through the Fengqing Formation and deepened a crude oil well from 4,740 meters to 6,708 meters. According to the latest data, the daily crude oil production of the Mahu oilfield has reached 8,200 tons in 2023, and the annual cumulative production has exceeded 11 million tons, surpassing the important milestone of 10 million tons for the first time. In the past 6 years, the total crude oil production of the oilfield has reached 3 million tons continuously, and it is planned to exceed 5 million tons per year in 2025. In fact, since the beginning of the 21st century, the global demand for oil has been growing steadily. China, as a country with a population of 1.4 billion, has not only become one of the world's largest crude oil consumers, but also one of the largest crude oil importers. It is predicted that China's oil demand is expected to grow by nearly 20% in the next few years. At present, China's main sources of crude oil imports include the Middle East, the North Caspian Sea, Africa, and South America, among which Saudi Arabia, Russia, Iraq, and Angola are China's main oil suppliers. In this case, sea tanker transportation has become the main mode of China's oil imports. However, due to the long distance of sea oil transportation and the many countries it passes through, such transportation methods can be easily affected or cut off by other countries. Therefore, China also needs to continue to develop new oil fields in order to achieve greater energy self-sufficiency in the future. Before we end today's video, remember to hit that shiny subscribe button. This way you will receive more insider information on projects as soon as possible. Looking forward to sharing with you next time.